And the first 6 you should already know how to do. And after that, we're going to learn today. Okay. So the very first one, and I've seen you guys do this a couple times throughout. Do what? Yep. You learn distribution. I'm going to show you another way in just a few minutes, but we're going to do this one the way that you know how. So what you're actually doing is 3m times 5m. And then you guys have a plus. And you do 3m times 7. And then we just multiply them together. So your numbers 3 times 5 is 15. And there's a total of 2 m's. So it'll be m squared. So again, 3 times 5 is 15. M is m squared. And the next one, 3 times 7 is 21. And there's 1 m between them. That's all you do. Okay. It is really simple. So I'm going to do number 2 the same way, and then I'm going to show you a different way with the rest of them. Number 2 is actually easier. You guys are multiplying 3 times 2v. There's a plus. And then 3 times 1. I don't expect you to write this out when you work it out. I'm just showing you where the numbers are coming from. Okay. 3 times 2 is 6, and there's 1v. We have a plus. 3 times 1 is 3. That's it. All right, so the next one. You guys did 4 times 2 is 8, and there's a p. And then you did 4 times -1, which is -4. Now, when we get to the next ones, 4, 5, 6, when we get definitely to 7, 8, 9, and 10, I do what's called box method. And typically I don't teach the box method on these because you already come in knowing how to distribute, but seeing as how last year was kind of crazy, I'm going to go ahead and teach you that as well. So this is what you do. You make a box. And on the side, we're going to put the first thing, which is 8 in. And on the top, we have an N and a -6. Now, what's good about this is when you guys get into biology, when you do take biology, you'll do this as well. And it's called a Punnett square. So if you've done them before, then you guys will kind of know what we're doing. If you haven't done them before, you will be doing them in a biology. Okay, so you will need this later on. So what you do is what meets in the box. So I just make little lines down so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. You do not have to draw these lines every single time, okay? So what meets in this box is 8n and n. You are correct. You are correct. And when I put that together, it gives me 8n to the second. What meets in this box is the 8n and the -6. 8 times -6 is -48, and there's 1 n. Okay, so yes, the distribution is, but guess what's going to happen when we get to 8, 9, 10, 7, 8, 9, 10? It's not as easy. The box is what I'm going to show you. Okay, so I'm trying to show you with the easy ones. Yes, you can distribute. I told you, you don't have to do all this work if you don't want to. But then your answer is inside that box right there. We just write it out. 8n squared minus 48n. Okay. And again, you don't have to do the box for 5 and 6, but when you get to 7, you're probably going to want to. Okay, just keeps it really nice and organized for you. All right, so same thing on this one. I'll make these boxes a little bit bigger so you guys can see. There's a 6v on the outside, but there's 3 terms in the parentheses, so I need 3 box. 8v squared, a 2v, and then because it's a -3, I'm going to write a -3. So in this first box, you're going to have 6v times 8v squared. That gives you 48v cubed. And again, you can do that with distribution. I don't mind. I'm just trying to show you how the box works. And the next one, 6v and 2v. 6 times 2 is 12. And we have 2 v's. And in the last box, 6v and -3. 6 times -3 is -18 and a v. That's a lot. All right, so again, you don't have to do the box on number 6. We're going to distribute just because it's a 4. There's nothing really hard in that. I do not care which way you do it. Whatever way is perfect for me. 4 times 5 is 20. And there's a p squared. 4 times 2 is 8. And there's only one p. And then 4 times 5 is a +20. Again, I don't care which way you do it. I saw this happening before spring break, so I know you know how to distribute. Okay, so just a refresher. What you probably don't know how to do is 7 and 8 and the rest of the paper. Okay, so if you wanted to distribute this would be a double distribute, and then you have to add like terms and you have to find them. It gets harder the bigger it gets. So this, using the box, guys. We're going to make a 2x2 box because we have 2 terms right here and 2 right there. So that's how you know how big to make your box. Okay. It doesn't matter which way it is. So we're going to have 2 and 3 in a minute. It doesn't matter which way your box is. So on the side, I'm going to have my first one, 5r and -5. On the top, I'll have the second one, 7r and -4. Again, doesn't matter which one, as long as they're together. You could put the 5r - 5 on the top. It works the exact same way. All right. So in this first box, we're going to have 5r and 7r. What is 5 times 7? 35. And there are 2 r's. In the next box, going across, we have 5r. Up and down, we have -4. 5 times -4 is -20. And we have 1 r. Do you not have your notes?
I left my stuff from the afternoon bus. No. Okay.
All right, next box. We have a -5 and a 7r. -5 times 7 is -35, and we have 1 r between them. In the last box, we have a -5 and a -4, which gives you a +20. Any questions about the boxes right now? All right, so how do you get your answer? You write out the diagonals. So what does that mean? You start with your first diagonal right here, 35r squared. In the second diagonal, listen carefully, use your visual. This is a plus right here. We're going to add these up. -35 plus -20 is -55r. So we added and subtracted yesterday. And then your last box is a positive 20. Okay. We'll go to number 9. It's even easier. We have 2 and 2. So we're going to make like a window pane. 2 and 2. Doesn't matter where you put them. One side is going to be x and 4. One side is going to be x and negative 5. And again, it's negative 5 because it's a minus 5. If you need to draw the little guidelines, you can do that. In this box, we'll have x times x, which is 2 x's or x squared. In the next box, we'll have x and negative 5, and we just squish these together. Negative 5x. In the bottom box, we have a 4 and an x. We just squish those together to be 4x. And then 4 and negative 5. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. To find your answer, write your diagonals. Your first term is x squared. Again, just so you can see it, there's your plus sign in the middle. 4 plus negative 5. 4 plus negative 5.
Oh, wait. The plus is because it has a,
Because it has the plus in the middle. Use your box.
sorry.
So 4 plus negative 5 is negative 1x. Remember, you don't have to have the 1 there. I just wanted to show you. And then your last diagonal is negative 20. If it were multiple choice, it would just look like that. All right. Number 8. We have a 2 by 2. We have a 4x and a positive 3. An 8x and a negative 7. So in the first box, we have a 4x and an 8x. 8 times 4 is 32. And there are 2 x's, so it would be x squared. In the next box, you have a 4x and a negative 7. 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. And there's only 1 x in that box. In the bottom, we have a 3 and 8x. 3 times 8 is 24, and they only have 1x. Helen. Yeah. And then in the last box, we have a 3 and a negative 7, and when you multiply that, you get negative 21. So to finish your answer, write that first diagonal, 32x squared. Remember, it's a plus right here. So if you need to use your calculator, write it just like you see it. 24 plus negative 28. Mhm. And they only have 1 x. Don't change the number of x's. And then the last diagonal is negative 21. That's your answer. They don't get any harder than this. They get longer. Got it? So the problem gets a little bit bigger, but they don't get any harder. Same kind of multiply, same add, everything. All right, look at your next one. It's a 2 by 2. One side is going to be 7p and a positive 8. One side is going to be 7p and a positive 1. You don't have to write the little parentheses inside the box. I'm going to keep doing that just for you guys. If you need to write it, go ahead and write it. If you don't have to, okay? So in the first box, 7p and 7p. 7 times 7 is 49, and there's 2 p's. Make sure that you're multiplying those. 7 times 7 is 49. In the next box, you have a 7p and a 1. 7 times 1 is 7, and there's only 1 p. In the next box, you have an 8 and a 7p. 8 times 7 is 56, and there's only 1 p. Then in your last box, 8 times 1 is 8. Make sure that you add in the middle. So your first box is your first part of your answer, 49p squared. Add your next one, 56 plus 7 is 63, and keep that p with it. They both have 1 p. And then the last box is a positive 8. That is your final answer. Okay. Everybody doing okay? Okay. Everybody got this one? Good. All right. I'm going to do one more like this, and then we're going to go to some more. But see how this one has 3 and then 2? That's where it's going to get a little bit longer. Like the box just gets bigger. That's it. All right. So number 11. I'm going to make my box to the side. It's a 2 by 2. One side is going to be 2k. Sorry, 2k and a negative 7. And one side is going to be an 8k and a 6. In the first box, 2k and 8k. 2 times 8 is 16, and there's 2k's. In the next box, 2k times 6. 2 times 6 is 12, and there's only 1k in that box. In the next one, you have negative 7 and 8k. Negative 7 times 8 is negative 56, and there's only 1k in that box. And then in the last box, negative 7 and 6. Multiply those, and you get negative 42. Remember to add your diagonals. So our first diagonal is 16k squared. Our next diagonal, if you can't do it in your head, that's fine. You can do it on your calculator. Negative 56 plus 12 is negative 44. So minus 44, and they only had 1k. And then the last box is a negative 42. And that is it. All right, so I'm going to skip number 12 because we've done a bunch of those where it's 2 by 2. So let's go to a bigger one. Okay, I'm going to actually do number 19. So drop down to number 19 real fast. So I'm going to make my box a little bit longer because in the front there's 2 terms. So there's my 2. But in the back there's 3 terms. So we had an X and a 4. And you can make your box tall too. You don't have to make it this way. Okay, so I like to make it horizontal. If you want to make it vertical, that's fine. We have a 3x squared, a negative 4x, and a negative 6. That's 3x squared. Sorry, I mushed it in there. So the same thing that we've been doing. In the first box, I have an x and a 3x squared. 1 times 3 is 3. How many total x's do I have in that box? Look at them. 3. I have 1 plus 2 is 3. So it's going to be 3x cubed. Do you see it?
Yeah.
All right, in the next box, I have an x and a negative 4x. The only number I have is negative 4. How many total x's do I have? So it'll be x squared. What you got?
This is when you read this is funny and you get messed up.
Stop interrupting my class. All right, x times negative 6. The only number I have is a negative 6. The variable is x. Same thing on the bottom. We have a 4 and 3x squared. 4 times 3 is 12, and I only have 2 x's, so x squared. And the next one, I have 4 and negative 4x. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16, and there's only 1 x. And then in the last box, you have 4 and negative 6. 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. So same exact work, nothing any different. Same thing on your diagonals. Your first diagonal is right here, 3x cubed. The only difference on this one is you're going to add twice. Okay. Here's your next diagonal, and they look exactly the same. You guys see how they're both x squares. So 12 plus negative 4 is 8, and they had x squared. The next diagonal, they both have x's. Negative 16 minus 6 is negative 22, and x made them alike. And then the very last diagonal is a negative 24. Any questions? So again, same thing, just a little bit longer. All right. Let's go back up to 13 now. Go back up to 13. We have 3 and 2. It does not matter how you make it. I always make mine longer. But make sure you put your parenthesis with 3 terms with your box 3 terms. Okay, so on the top, this one's going to go on the top, 6x squared, a negative 2x and a negative 2. And then on the side, 2x and negative 7. All right. Without writing them in there, 2 times 6 is 12. And there's 3 x's. If you need to write it in there, please write it in there. The next box, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And there's 2 x's. Notice how this is going down. 3 x's, 2 x's. What do you think the next one's going to be? 1 x. It's going to do that every time, okay? So 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, but there's only 1 x between the two of them. Same thing on the next one. Ignore that top row. We're looking at 6x squared times negative 7. 6 times -7 is -42. And there's two X's between them. And if you guys look, it'll drop down. We started with 3. The next row is going to start with 2. Okay, 2 X's. And it's going to keep going down. 2 X's, 1 X, no X. -7 times -2 is a positive 14 and 1 X. -7 times -2 is a positive 14. Then work on your diagonals. Your first diagonal is 12x cubed. Add your next one, -42 plus -4 is -46, and they were x squares. 14 plus -4 is 10x, and the last box is a positive 14. That's your answer. We're going to go to 16. 16. Only reason I'm skipping 15 is because it's got B's and I don't want you to confuse them with 6s. That's it. That's the only thing. Same exact way. So let's go to 16. It's also a 3 by 2. A 4x squared, a 7x, and a -5. A 6x and a -5. In this first box, a 6x and a 4x squared. 6 times 4 is 24. And there's a total of 3 x's in that box. And the next one, 6x and 7x. 6 times 7 is 42. And there's 2 x's in that box. The last one on the top, we had 6x and -5. 6 times -5 is -30, and there's only 1 x. Across the bottom, we have a -5 and a 4x squared. -5 times 4 is -20 x squared. We have -5 and 7x. -5 times 7 is -35, and there's only 1 x. And then in the last box, -5 times -5 is a positive 25. Write your diagonals. We're going to start with 24x cubed. Go to your next one. We're just adding them up. So you put it in your calculator just like you see it. -20 plus 42 gives me 22x squared. Same thing on your next one. -35 plus -30 gives me -65x. And then our last box is a positive 25. Any questions? Let's do one more, and then I'll let you do your homework. Okay. And you'll probably need paper for your homework. So let's do number 18, and then we'll be done. Again, a 2 by 3. We have 2r and a -7. A 2r squared, -7r and 8. In the first box, 2 times 2 is 4. And there are 3 r's. In the next box, 2 times -7 is -14, and there are 2 R's. 2 times 8 is 16, and there's only 1 R. Across the bottom, -7 times 2 is -14, and there are 2 R's. -7 times -7 is a +49, and there's only 1 R. And then in the last box, -7 times 8 is -56. First diagonal is 4R cubed. The next diagonal, -14 plus -14 is -28. (49) plus 16 is 65R. And the very last box is -56. Any questions? All right, so same thing as yesterday, you're gonna have an EDIA assignment. Tomorrow, you will have a review and test all in one day. Your review and test will go ahead, I'll go ahead and open it today so that you can have it, okay? Is everybody good? Any questions? We will not Zoom tomorrow unless you Zoom with Miss Walter. You will not Zoom with me tomorrow. Is everybody good? All right. I'm gonna stop sharing, stop recording. Those of you that are on Zoom, I have your attendance, so you are good to go unless you need us. Again, your assignment today is on EDIA.
It was so funny. Watching you was so good.
Go quick.
It's actually kind of good because it's okay. No, it's okay. The song is like, there's no instrument. The song is just bringing it hurts me. My turn. know about everything.
So there you go. Like a bigger.
Or is it city or something? Is it on the end?
Shelley, paper?
I have one. It's okay.
I think you stretch too much there, bud.
I'm flexible. I can read
Okay.
something. Really? That's not the phone. It's going to take. Well, that's mine.
This one will have, tables, so if you want, two.
Yes, they want to do our own.
I heard that one.
Wash the dishes, let the trash.
What guys do work, yeah, these shorts will get home, so. No, I don't know mine. Because we can't find them all three on honor stuff. I mean, yeah, you can look, I don't have to get, well, it's just, it's too late now, so I have nothing on it. So, but I can get right through. And then some kids are like, well, my computer's at home. Go get them, you're not sitting there doing nothing. And so that, well, I'm gonna wait until a 4:30 period. I'm like, no, you're gonna do it now.
You know,
Well, that's my packet home, there's another
Josh.
packet.
Go to the library and get a laptop so that you can do your stuff. Oh, you know what? I don't know that he can go in and get one. I don't know that they can get one today.
I got mine out.
What,
This morning though, right? They're doing work keys testing. Just keep working on this test. That's all I can tell you.
We got negative, positive. Negative, positive, so yeah, but that should have a while with it right there. You should know like that, or you should have the same thing as that. And then, after that,
Yeah.
I mean, you can do the box, you can do like a one times, you can do it this way.
Let me go ahead. Can you,
Like, I was waiting for it.
Can you tell me what that-
Let me know.
what's inside? Three what? Three. Plus nine, yeah. Okay, guys, look, I need you to stop working and look for just a second. If you get one like this, what is that to me?
You gotta do it twice.
You gotta do it twice. So that's the box with the same thing. So the box will be the same on the top and the bottom. So when you make your 2x2 box, it's gonna have a -3Z and a 3, and a -3Z and a 3. Did you feel it? Tell me.
No, I was not gonna buy one. I said you could buy one, right? Yes, I did. I swear. My mom.
The box, you could bring it zero.
Oh.
Did you ever run your first problem,
You have a look here.
the first one? Yeah. Well, take it easy, let me take some more.